YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Took the last couple of days off, been driving a ton. Valerie and I are on our way to Lake Oneida for the second Bass Northern Open of the year. And right now I'm currently sitting in 8th place in the Opens. And the Bassmaster Elite schedule just dropped yesterday, I think is when it was. And, you know, right at the front end of iCast, and a lot of people are going to talk about all the brand new products at iCast and all that, but to me, the biggest news of the week so far is the Elite Series schedule, because I'm going to tell you guys, it's pretty darn good. And seeing that the position that I'm in right now, and I have a legit chance of still making it with 5 open events left, it's kind of a big deal for me, because this is kind of when my prep starts. And regardless if I make it or not, I have to look at this schedule and say, okay, where am I going to do well? What am I going to be doing? And mentally, that's where I go anytime a new schedule gets dropped. And that's exactly where I went with this one. So let's talk about it a little bit. The very first tournament's at the St. Johns River. So if I happen to make the Bassmaster Elite Series, I'd be kicking it off on the St. Johns, and I've never been to that body of water before. So obviously, that'd be like a new experience for me. I haven't really had that experience on that place, but, it's in Florida, and I know that there's a chance that it could be spawning. But now number 2 is a place that I'm very confident in. It's probably one of the only places in Florida that I have a lot of success, and that is the Harris Chain of Lakes. And that's middle of February, so we should be hitting the spawn, just awesome. So I'm really, if I can make it, I would really look forward to that event. And then the Bassmasters Classic, in which the only way I can make that for this coming year is to win an open, one of the 5 remaining opens. So obviously, that's a big goal, but at the same time, I'd much rather make the elites and try to make it in that way. But the next one kicks off at Santee Cooper at the end of March. And I don't know if y'all remember, but Preston Clark set the record at one time on Santee Cooper catching spawning bass and absolutely lit it up there. So I've never been to Santee, but everything I've heard, it fishes really similar to Toledo Bend, kind of where I cut my teeth. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. I can't wait if I get that chance. The next one is April 7th through 10th on Chickamauga. Now, I've had a lot of success there in the spawn, and I feel like they would be hitting that just about perfect. Obviously, John Cox has a lot of success there in the spawn, too. I think he's won 3 tournaments there, national tournaments, when they've been spawning. But it's definitely a place I have a lot of confidence in, especially when I can see them with my eyes and you don't have to rely on your electronics. Lake Fork, May 19th through 22. I haven't spent a lot of time on Lake Fork. Obviously, y'all saw what Lee Livesay did this year, dropping a 40-plus pound bag, throwing a top water of all things. And you've seen what Patrick Walters has done the last few times they've been there. And, y'all know everything goes down there. I think that's going to be probably one of the harder tournaments for the fact that most of the field at that point has fished that particular body of water at really close to the exact same time of year, multiple times at that point. So you're kind of behind the 8 ball there. But, like I said, I have been there a couple of times, and I do have some confidence there, no doubt about it. And then it comes into a to be determined or to be announced June 2nd through 5th. And so seeing that they had Lake Fork the week before, or a couple weeks before, whenever it was, on Lake Fork, I can only assume, and this is just an assumption, that they're going to either go to Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn. Now, granted, they might swing it up and go to Texoma. They could go to Sabine River. Bass has always done that. They've always kind of thrown a curveball in there on us every once in a while. But I feel fairly confident that it could be one of those 2 bodies of water. I actually think probably more so than anything, probably be Rayburn. I would rather it be Toledo, though, because obviously that's where I grew up. I have a lot of experience there, and that would be a tournament that I'd probably do pretty good in. Then we fast forward all the way to July, so we would actually skip an entire month of fishing, skip all the way to July at the St. Lawrence River, 1,000 Islands, and you just saw what can happen there. I actually will be going there, I I think in September, for the Bass Open. So that one's always kind of like, I mean, there's a reason they say it's the best smallmouth fishery in the country, is because it has just an absolute ton of 3 to 5 pound smallmouth in it. And 6 pluses, I mean, there's 7 pounders, 8 pounders get caught out there every year. It's definitely got that big fish potential. Then you have a makeup date. That makeup date's really interesting because, you know, it's not just a COVID thing. It's also in case that there's floods or just really anything. I mean, I've been in situations where, like Smith Lake this year, we had to reschedule it because the lake literally went over the entire boat ramp, and there was nowhere you could even launch the boat on that body of water. And then there's one on here that I have absolutely no idea how to catch a bass on, and that's August 18 through 21, Lake Oahe in South Dakota. You know, I've been to 40, I think 42 or 40, yeah, I think it's 42 states in the U.S. I think I drove through South Dakota when I was a kid, but I didn't even know they caught bass out there until Bass went out there a few years ago, and Mark Daniels did really good in that event, if I remember correctly. And I have no idea how to even catch a bass there, but I know they catch them finesse fishing, and so that's kind of my deal. And I've heard that it's a really giant place, but it fishes really small. So I remember some of the elite guys talking about it when they went out there the last time. And then the season wraps up on the Mississippi River out of La Crosse in August, late August at that, 26th through the 29th. I think that's when Rumbanis has done so good out there with a frog. That's when they catch them frogging, flipping hardcore. I went to the Mississippi River once, but it was during the spawn out of La Crosse. It was during when they were spawning, so it's a completely different animal. But overall, guys, I'm going to say this is probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, Elite Series schedule I've seen in probably the last 5 years. And the reason I say that is, A, you don't have any, so far, you don't have any Sabine Rivers, you know, any weird tidal rivers or anything like that are really going to throw things off or have small weights. You don't really have any small weight events, honestly. I mean, truth be told, this is, I saw it on Facebook. Jason Christie said this is going to be the wheelbarrow event or tour this year, because you're going to need a wheelbarrow to haul your bag up to the scales at every single event. And I think he's kind of pretty much spot on. I mean, every one of these fisheries have the potential of catching your personal best, no matter the species. The only thing I would say that I would like to see different on this, and there's not a whole lot I would say I'd want different, but I really like when they mix in the herring lakes. I really enjoy fishing herring lakes. And the other thing, and I understand, especially with everything that's going on, but I'd love to see a West Coast swing, you know, a Clear Lake, a Delta, Lake Havasu, Lake Mead. That West Coast swing has been missing on the Elite Series for quite some time. And I really wish we could get it back, you know, especially with COVID now. It was already kind of hard anyway when everything was going down before, but with COVID now and all the restrictions there are out west, I mean, last year I traveled to Clear Lake during the midst of COVID, and it's just different out there, guys. So, you know, and right now I want to say Clear Lake is as low as it's been in a really long time. I mean, they're even talking about shutting down boat ramps. Lake Mead hit its all-time low last week. I saw a guy posted that, and I mean, that's pretty crazy to know that those lakes are just getting so low to the point of where they're unfishable. Or maybe you can't, not necessarily unfishable, but you just can't even find a boat ramp that has water on it. So, yes, I feel like there's a few things that they could have done differently, but overall, like, that's a hammer schedule. You're going to see a lot of really big fish. You're going to see a lot of big weights in just about every single event. The only wild card in there that I just don't think I don't know enough about it is the Lake Oahe and Mississippi River. I mean, you're obviously capping your weights 15, 18, 19, 20 pounds at the most. And that's mainly just because of the size fish the Mississippi River has. It just doesn't have that abundance of 5 to 6 and 7 plus pounders as some of these others do. But overall, I'm going to give this, if I had to grade this particular schedule, I'd give it like an A-. An A+ would be like if they added Toledo Bend, obviously. So, but guys, that's my reaction to the Bassmaster Elite schedule. I hope and pray that we can get there. We're doing everything we can. We even skipped out on ICAST this week to go practice a few days early just to get a few more extra days in. My wife was like, hey, what do you want to do? And I was like, man, I really want to make it. And so we're doing it. We're giving it everything we got this year. And hopefully the cards will fall where we need them to. But hey, real quick, guys, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do so. It's super easy. Just go in the bottom right-hand corner, and there's a little square that says subscribe. Hit that sub button. And please, if you can do one thing for me, is like this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. It goes a long ways if you do that. So I really hope y'all enjoy this video, and I'll see you on the next one.